names we all know. Socrates, Heraclitus, Plato, Voltaire, Schopenhauer. When he speaks of the type of the artist, he doesn't mean somebody who went to art school, or a poser making modern popular art. He means Michelangelo, he means Shakespeare, he means Goethe. And so in this spirit, Nietzsche gets more specific. I mean, he offers three figures, two of which you've already mentioned. In the course of the...
Please welcome to...
Films are not new to Nolan's films. None of them are more interested in people than concepts. 저녁은 또 아이스크림.
In this social that is not social, it just goes wherever. It goes to very mechanically, actually. It goes very mechanically to what gets reactions on social media. That's what decides what is worth occurring or worth being believed in. Because belief itself is only tied to that. And compare this to these statues. Like, this is a very relatively rudimentary form of sign exchange. It's just like, if you're good, you look like this. Even if everyone recognizes you, the problem is that you really can't ever actually possess the desire of others because it isn't something. It's a negation or lack in them that can't fundamentally fill up the negation or lack in you. You can't fill up a negation with a negation. So whether or not everybody knows your name, you're never going to get the thing that you want.
Finding yourself in a blessed state. Owen Flanagan, a cognitivist who is also...
Monsanto on Facebook.
Oh, nice.
And Monsanto's been getting into it to the same degree that...
The treasury of knowledge is vast, but life is so short, and I'm too old now to go back to school.
The man known to history as Vladimir Lenin was born as Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov on the 22nd of April 1870, or the 10th of April, using the old-style Julian calendar, in the city.
Do you feel, because of the success of the movie, and because you were playing somebody in the movie named Wally, and he's playing someone named... Did you feel, was there a burden for you at all in terms of people assuming things about you or about Andre, or...
We're way remote from the people in the film. The characters and Andre and Wally in real life were very seriously different. Dramatically different. Including the fact that for me, a lot of the things that I passionately proclaim in the film, I actually believed something quite different. In other words, the guy in the film is basically saying, I'll fight to the death to keep my bourgeois comforts and on 90% of the disagreements between Andre and me, I was sort of on his side.
Charles?
Well, I must admit my lawn's looking very sorry for itself. It's, although, in theory, over, the theoretical norm.
Oh, lovely.
A medley of compost, Michael.
Yes, yes.
Do you think it's anything to do with a certain religion, do you think?
John took me to the stable. Oh, what a good supper he gave me that night. A good bran mash and some crushed beans with my oats. And such a thick bed of straw.
Let's see if the boys remember. She'll be coming round the mountain.
Sure, let her rip, Arthur, honey. Yahoo! She'll be coming when she comes.
was nearly 72 when he died. And he liked to dance right to the end. He called it vertical dancing.
He introduced, which now is popular, and which I don't like, is kept your partner this distance from you when you dance. Well, that's never been done before. You felt a little bit loose, peculiar. And now they all do this, because when I see them getting up and doing the disco or whatever they do, they're all dancing by themselves in front of somebody else.
What did he like to dance to?
He liked boogie woogie was the style. That's why he named this boogie woogie.
Well, in the boogie woogie, you have the annihilation of the melodic. So you have the free harmonic in balance with and never dominating the rhythmic.
He didn't like melody, no. He liked the rhythm. Rhythm is different than melody. When it was soft and melodic, he stopped. His part.
As he was both the son of a painter and the nephew of a painter, Mondrian's awareness of art developed within his family. He was born on March 7, 1872, The White Cow, 1903. This uses the screening device of trees without reflections, and the horizon is now replaced by a fence to stress the horizontal. The trees and the fence frame a painting within a painting, focusing attention upon the cows as a view through the screen. The only residual hint of perspective here is provided by imaginary lines from the lower corners of the canvas through to the central motif of animals. The trees are in leaf, spraying across the upper canvas to form a dark band corresponding to the dark foreground below. Almost invisible. The Church at Domburg, 1910. The Mill at Domburg, The Red Mill, 1910. Linked by straight lines. Tree, 1911-12. The new impact of Cubism is evident, while the painting makes a revealing comparison with The Red Tree. Cubism has led him to relinquish detail, and the curved organic cross motif is clearer as a result, and reveals an implied circle of lines around the center of the painting and the core of its image. Composition with Trees, 2, 1912. Gray Tree, 1912. Apple Tree in Flower, 1912. The tree has no recognizable flowers, and the tree is not easy to discern, yet its image remains central and plays an important role in coordinating the rhythmic structure, even if it is less accessible to recognition. Background and foreground fully interlock, and Mondrian has employed only the straight line and elliptical curve to construct the intersecting planes of his painting. Without curves, without diagonal lines, without solid imagery, an insubstantial, restless, glittering record of the ocean's movement. Composition with lines. Composition in black and white, 1917. Composition with colors, A. Composition in planes of pure color on white background, 1917. Purity of color and its dominant whites are an inexhaustible means of embodying balance. All is open, and relationships are reduced to their utmost clarity. 3 lines and 2 colors were all that Mondrian needed. Composition C with red and gray, 1932. Composition with yellow lines, 1933. This painting is innovative in 2 ways at least. The lines are yellow, and they do not touch anywhere on the canvas. By extension, they meet off the canvas to form a rectangle, which is only approximately square. The lines are broad and of varying widths and lengths. Each yellow band cuts off an equilateral triangle and still appears as the edge of a plane. The white central space appears to They are single color crossings in yellow, red, and blue, plus all their combinations, but the assemblage is also interwoven. as each of these three primary colors also has a spatial effect, blue receding, red firm, and yellow advancing, the painting exhibits enormous activity in which each color crossing constitutes a pictorial incident. New York City 2, 1942. New York City 3, 1942. Broadway Boogie Woogie, 1942-43. The grid forms no closed colored planes, and the lines are repeatedly interrupted by small pulses of red, blue, and white, marking every crossing and forming an agitated rhythm along the full length of each line. Mondrian has, in addition, bridged the gaps between the lines by blocks of color, which do not fill the whole vacant plane. Within these bridge panels, which are sometimes themselves subdivided into bands, he has in certain cases inserted smaller panels of yellow or white, placed symmetrically around the vertical axis of each grouping. Victory Boogie Woogie, 1943.
Yeah, I wanted to miss the film of this.
What did you admire in that?
The dancing, of course.
Later on, he said, "Don't you think that it needs a little attention here?" And he pointed to the lower right-hand side. I said, "I don't think you can move a line. I think it's absolutely perfect." And he kept coming back to that area, but he said nothing, and I left. 2 months later, I got a wire from Alfred Barr that Mondrian had died, and I was certainly heartbroken about it. I couldn't get back to New York for the funeral. When I saw the picture a few months later, it had completely changed. He had added tapes. And today it's in that unfinished state.
During one of my visits to Mondrian, he was telling me about his search for peace. The fact that it was so difficult for him that he could only paint and work in peace. He was an old man, and that he had to leave Paris, flee Paris, to go to England to find peace, and then the war caught up with him there. And now he has come to America. He says, "Here, I hope I will find peace." And it is so dramatic, and it is so unusual in the timing that people think I dreamt the story up, but it actually happened. It's one of the eeriest stories of my life. As he said, "Now I am here in New York, and I hope to find peace." The building began to rumble, literally shake, and we rushed over to the window and we looked down. What it was Memorial Day, 1942.
America at war. In New York, vast flags leading 500,000 marchers in the greatest patriotic and military demonstration ever seen in this or any country. Tanks, mechanized equipment, to give New Yorkers a sample of the weapons it takes to fight a modern war. For miles, for hours, even into the night they march. Workers in armament industries joining the procession. The home front organized for war. All America on the march, flying the battle flag that has never known defeat.
very door, and he looked at me and the most resigned, helpless shrug went this way. The Lord caught up with him again, and there was no peace.
This is the same office which I have occupied for about 49 years. Mr. Mondrian would come into that room, up in the waiting room, then into this room briefly, but mostly into the examining room. And things have not changed in that character. I knew that there was something about what he was drawing, but I didn't have any real appreciation of his spirit. And then when I went over to his studio and saw what was on the frames, I thought, well, these are lines and squares and this simple artistic work, and about what I would expect from such an individual, as I judged him to be, a kindly, unsophisticated gentleman.
How did he behave about it?
Well, he was very quiet and very shy and very unassuming, and almost childlike in his attitudes. And there were such minor disorders about which he complained that you would hardly think somebody would bring that to the physician's attention.
But
So he emphasized it, and he was satisfied when I reassured him. And I don't think I ever found any serious illness before the final one.
I had seen him on a Friday. He'd come down to my place. We went for dinner. And the following Monday, I ran into an artist who had visited him the day before, and he told me that Mondrian had a very bad cold. And I decided that the next day I would go to visit him to see how he was. And when I came there, he had a raging fever. So
he was in bed?
He was in bed, but still walking around. I mean, if he had to, but he had a very high fever. And I immediately called his doctor.
And I ran over there. It was not far from here in the 50s. The studio was very cold. He was probably very undernourished. He was always somewhat thin anyway. Sitting in the cold studio, very short of breath and coughing. Took a listen to his chest. And he obviously had an extensive involvement of his lung, that is, the breath sounds came through loud with noises, and he had a lobar pneumonia. So we moved him to a hospital. At that time it was a small hospital called the Murray Hill Hospital, which is on East 40th Street and subsequently is closed. I knew Mr. Mondrian was an artist of merit, but I didn't know his great prominence. Mr. Holzman called me and said, this man his reputation is international, and you better get the very best consultant available because he looks pretty sick and he may not survive.
Oh, he had a very fine doctor. I insisted that the doctor get a specialist. The specialist came and could do no more but to approve what the doctor was doing. Mondrian was nearly 72.
Well, I was called about 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning and asked to go to the hospital. And I found it a little difficult to get to the hospital. At that time, there wasn't a taxi around this part of the town. And when I got there, he was rather feeble. I mean, I thought it was pretty near the end. And I spoke to him a little while, and then he asked me if I had a pencil and some paper. And he seemed to have difficulty speaking, so he said he wanted to write, or he indicated he wanted to write a message. And he wrote this message, and then he fell over. He was tired and couldn't do much about it. He handed me the paper, which I still have. And I often wondered what this message was that he said he wanted me to have, because